Hi, Queens. Sam here. I hope that you're doing amazing. So, I'm coming to you today from a very, it's been an emotional week. It's been an emotional week. So, this week is going to be actually my last week before I go back to work next week. So, after 12 plus month of being off work for maternity leave, I'm heading back to work full time next week. And so it's a bit difficult, I have to say. I've had my babies with me since they're born for the entire time. And yes, it's quite challenging. It is challenging at the end of the day to be caring for two babies and actually three when my toddler is back from daycare. And weekends are always busy and I'm always tired. I usually try to put a bit of makeup for you guys, but today no makeup. No makeup. This is just that was the condition. I have a very short window to record this, so you guys are really getting the video as raw as it can get so far. But yeah, I wanted to come here and share actually a follow up to a video that I did recently in regard to literally eliminating your housing. So leave. I think it was like 3 ways for you to live for free. I'll put a link to that video in the description. Or you guys can go ahead and check the playlist, the 30 and 30 playlist. You will find that video in there. But today's video, it's more of a follow-up, and essentially not everybody has the opportunity to go live in a hotel or like go live on a resort or like on a boat cruise. But there are still ways for you to reduce your housing, and that's what I want to talk about today. The first thing is that you can live with family. If you have the opportunity to live with family or with friends, go ahead and do that. Chances are, if you live with family, let's say if they're like your parents or like your uncle or aunt or your older cousins, chances are you won't have to pay anything. At least they will not ask you to pay anything. And even if you have to pay something, it will never be as much as you would have to pay if you were on your own. For 10 plus years, I have had my younger siblings and cousins at my place. 5 people that have come to my place and stayed while they were studying. They're all gone today. They're working in their own. But for the entire time they were here, with the exception of maybe one or two of them when they started working a little bit, I asked them to pitch in for groceries, mainly because I wanted to make sure they were not, like wasting their money. So, but really, for the major part of it, everybody was able to live here for free for all of the time they were here. So, even if you're already working, does not matter. If you have the opportunity to stay with family and not have to pay, a full rent by yourself. Let's say if you are single, go ahead and do that, because at the end of the day, if you're a single person, you'll see that you always pay more for one bedroom versus if you were to go for two bedrooms. Like someone living by themselves in a one bedroom will always pay more. Like sometimes you see the one bedroom at 1,200 and then the two bedroom at 1,600, 1,700. So again, if you can live with family, live with friends, of course, you want to make sure that you're a good person when you're living there, taking care of things, and not also respecting if they have some rules. Of course, if those rules work for you, those are things that you need to talk before you actually move with them. But there's always a way to make that happen. And also the second way that you can actually reduce your housing is the old way, which is house hacking. And I'm a huge fan of house hacking. I've had Evelyn here on the podcast. I was my not the podcast. I was There's a podcast coming. That's why I'm saying on the podcast. So note to yourself, I'm working on a podcast actually, but on the channel here, I've had Evelyn. She's actually the first one that I interviewed in the short series of interview that I've done so far. And she what she did is that she bought a duplex, so she's living in one unit and then she's renting the other one. She's Airbnb the other one, and so she's milking it. So that's the old house hacking. And you don't have to buy a duplex. You can also buy a regular house. If you have like 3 bedrooms, you can using one bedroom and then you rent out the other two. There's so many ways that you can do that. I've heard of people renting their pool, people renting the access to the beach. Let's say if you have a cottage and the cottage gives access to the beach, you can rent that portion of the house. Let's say for weddings or like for any big event that people want to do. So there's so many ways of renting your garage, but in a more consistent way, it's definitely renting a portion of your house. That's house hacking. So you'll have other people helping you to pay for the housing cost, and sometimes it can be so much that you really don't have anything to pay. I've known so many, I've seen so many people do that, and it's just amazing, right? Other people pay for your housing costs, but you get all the equity at the end of the day. And then the third way that you can reduce your housing costs is by what they call geo arbitrage. I always have a bit of issue with that word, but geo arbitrage is essentially you moving to another city within the same country where the cost of living is actually more affordable. So let's say here I live in Ontario. Um, the province of Manitoba is known as being less expensive than Ontario. So let's say if you work remote for an employer who doesn't really care where you are in Canada, then you can move to Manitoba and essentially work from there and have access to affordable housing and being able maybe to afford bigger places at cheaper prices. That's something to consider. Of course, there are other things also, like would you like to live in Manitoba? If you want to be close to your family and all of your families in Ontario, maybe you don't want to go to Manitoba. But even doing that for a couple of years, that could really help you for your budget, for your money, and then you can always come back to Ontario after that. And the geo arbitrage is not only within your country; it could also be with the entire world. So instead of being in Canada, you can decide if you work remote, like for an employer really doesn't care where you are in the world. You can then go, let's say, to Southeast Asia or like to Africa or to Latin America, where the cost of living is more affordable. I don't really like to use the term cheaper, to be quite honest, and I know I've used it just now, but I think when we use the terms cheaper, it kind of takes, for me, it takes a bit the value away. But at the end of the day, where you will be, there are other people living there, and maybe for them it's not actually cheap. So it's affordable in the sense, like you're coming from a place where, let's say, your dollar or your local currency goes your currency goes further than the local currency where you will be. So that's why you can actually afford to live a bit better um, in those places. So again, the geo arbitrage, if you lucky enough to have an international remote work, that's where the term digital nomad came from, because essentially all of those people who can work anywhere in the world for their employer, then they can travel the world and also get to live in cheaper places compared to maybe the place that they were originally from. So those are the three ways really that you can actually reduce your housing costs. And I know there are other ways, but I'm also looking at the ways that people can take and implement right away. So if you have any other way that comes to mind that maybe you have done yourself, please share in the comment below so we can all learn from each other. Because uh, with what's happening out there right now, there are people paying up to 50% of their take-home pay in housing, and honestly, to me, it's not unacceptable. Like for me, housing, and then studies, daycare, health, all of those things are basic needs, and those things are the ones that are costing people a lot of money. People are going to debt for medical bills in the US. People are going to debt for studies in Canada and in the US. And I hear some of those student loans in the six figures, and I'm like, when are you going to be able to pay all these? And some people are lucky, some of those loans have been forgiven, but some other people they still have those loans, and you have to track that for years and years, and then it becomes a bit of a burden for you to really realize what you want to do, maybe in your 50s and in your 60s. So any way that you can find to reduce your housing costs, 100% go for it. So let me know in the comments below if there are any other ways that you can think of. Again, thank you for watching. Today was day 17, if I'm not mistaken, of the 30 in 30. And I'm going to do my best and come back again this week. Like I say, it's a bit of a difficult week for me because I need to get ready for going to go back to work next week. So there are a few things that I need to do that I really don't feel like doing, but I still need to do them. So I'll probably get them done. And so that might take away my time from delivering on the 30 in 30. But if I cannot post a video, I'll make sure to let you guys know in the community post or maybe post a short instead of a full video. But don't forget to like this video. I'm really trying to push my content to more people out here on YouTube. So please like the video, and also comment, and then hit the notification bell after subscribing, of course, and share with your network, and let me know how uh, how this is actually landing with you for all of the content that I've been sharing with you so far. Thank you again for watching, and until tomorrow, keep on building wealth.